we have a new featured location, which will be running tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific time. That happens every Tuesday, and there's a 40% chance of this location appearing more often for 48 hours, which for a lot of people is a long time. We're going to go over how this location works, and we're also going to talk about the 5 best decks that I'm going to try out to get the most out of this location. Before we get into that, we have some other news that I think is very interesting, and that is about LEECH being on the watch list for a possible nerf. The other card that is currently, that we know of, on this list is Arrow. So the question was about the LEECH rework, and this was on their Discord, and this is a developer right here. LEECH is among the cards we monitor for balance, and the other card that they have mentioned that is on that watch list is Arrow. Also, Kang will be coming to the game in about an hour. Kang plus Absorbing Man. How will this combination work? Will Absorbing Man copy Kang's ability or the previous card's ability, or not copy anything? Thanks. The game won't remember Kang, so Absorbing Man should copy the previous card if it had an on-reveal ability. So I was thinking about Taskmaster. You know, on turn 5, you play a monstrous big bad, and then on turn 6, you play Kang, and then on the second turn 6, you play Taskmaster. Does it copy the 30 power Red Skull? And apparently the answer is yes. Also, Token Tuesday is here. There is a offer where 450 gold. I did purchase this. I think if you're looking for collector tokens, the ratio for gold to collector tokens on this particular offer is excellent. And there are going to be 4 offers this month. This is the first of 4 offers that are going to happen every day on Tuesday. Let's talk about the Quantum Realm. After you play a card here, set its base power to 2. Now, there are 2 cards in the game that I wanted to bring out that have similar type effects, and that is Bast. On reveal, set the power of all cards in your hand to 3. And then also there is Valkyrie. Set all cards at this location to 3 power. So the one thing that's worth noting about this effect of set all cards to this location to a certain power, this happens when the card is played there. So we're going to talk about situations where cards are not played at a location. They're going to bypass this. And the other thing is that ongoing effects bypass this. And there's a lot of cards that use ongoing, specifically with the Valkyrie style decks and things like that, that take advantage of this particular mechanic. And I just, on a side note, Luke Cage is an interesting card. Basically, this will revert this entire location. There's a very interesting interaction with Valkyrie, where if your opponent plays Valkyrie on turn 5 and then you play Luke Cage on turn 6, it actually reverts those effects. It isn't a super obvious effect just by reading the card, but that could be a very interesting surprise mechanic for this location, where on turn 6 you just drop Luke Cage and basically negates the effects that have already happened in the game. But before we get into that, I want to say that on reveal effects are not going to work well with this location. When the card is played into the location, the on reveal effect resolves first, because it takes priority over the location effect. So if you drop Taskmaster in this location and it's copying a 1,000,000 power Red Skull, it would go to the 1,000,000 power Red Skull, and then the location effect would go into play, and he would be reverted to 2. So on reveal effects are not going to really work well with this particular location, but what will work well is ongoing effects. And so we're going to talk about some of the classic examples of ongoing effects that might work well with this location. Ongoing, if you have 3 other cards here plus 3 power. So when Ant-Man is placed into this location, he will become a 2 power card. And then if there are 3 other cards there, he still will get the 3 power. So he'll be a total of 5 power. Cerebro is going to be amazing. Your highest power cards will get plus 2 power. I think Cerebro 2 is going to be amazing with this location, and we are definitely going to have a Cerebro 2 deck list for that. also, Devil Dino is going to work well with this location. Now, he will lose 1 power. He will become a 5/2, but he still will get all of this ongoing ability right here. The ongoing ability is ongoing. It's persistent. It continues to happen. And so this is going to be an amazing card because he's still going to be very powerful. And this is also true for a card like Darkhawk. In fact, Darkhawk will get the 2 extra power. He'll be 4/2, and then his ongoing ability will apply on top of that. Pretty much any ongoing card, I think, is going to work well with this location. Patriot decks, we're going to have a Patriot deck. I think Patriot's going to be an amazing. Your cards with no abilities will have +2 power. Also, he will become a 3/2, and so he will get an extra stat boost. Iron Man, ongoing ability, is going to be absolutely amazing with this location. A card that is also going to work well is going to be Sunspot. Sunspot, if you drop Sunspot in this location, he will become a 1/2, and then at the end of each turn, he will gain +1 power for each unspot energy. So Sunspot is still going to act favorably with this location. There may be a possibility of playing Adam Warlock into that location. He will get 2 power, and then you might be able to actually take advantage of Adam Warlock's ability of drawing a card. I don't know if I'm going to do that. And then also any other card that cheats into the location, like Doom or Squirrel Girl or so on, will also work. Destroy a random friendly card here, add copies of it to the other locations. So, if you're playing a Shuri deck, you could set up a lane with a very big Red Skull, let's say, place Arnim Zola on it, and then Arnim Zola will go into the 2 Red Skulls. One of them will go into that location, and they will still keep their power because the card is added there. It's not actually played there. And so there's a bunch of other cards that work that way, like Lockjaw. After you play a card here, swap it with the card in your deck. So you place Lockjaw on the location, and then you place a stone. That stone will become 2 power, but then it will go into the deck and get a card, and that card will not be played, and that card will have its power. And so if you go and get an Infinite, it will still be a 20 power Infinite. So I think Lockjaw is going to be an amazing card for that location. That is also true with Jubilee. Not only will she become 2 power, the card that she pulls will stay at that card's power. So if it pulls an Infinite, it'll remain 20 power. And then, of course, you can cheat power into these locations with cards like Mr. Fantastic, which feeds power to adjacent locations, or maybe you could use Claw. So we've got a couple decks that we're going to talk about. The first deck we're going to talk about is probably one of the best decks in the game. I feel like the 2 best decks in the game right now are Shuri Zero and Thanos Lockjaw. I'm going to refrain from playing Shuri Zero while this is a featured location. I think the super sweaty players are going to use a build similar to this. There's a lot of versions of this build, but this is a Thanos Lockjaw build, and I think it's going to have a favorable outcome with that location. And the idea of the way that I look at featured and hot locations is I try to find decks that will work when the location doesn't show up. So they're just good decks anyways, or they're tier 2 decks, or decks that used to be good last season. They complement the location and they work well when the location is there. But if the location doesn't show up, they still win. And this is one of the best decks in the game. And I think there are a lot of things in this deck that work well with it. Lockjaw, of course, and the stones, I think, is going to be amazing. Devil Dino does not care about the location. Now, there are some pitfalls. You don't want to place America Chavez in that location, or Magneto, or She-Hulk, or Thanos, or Infinite, but you can place the rest of the deck there with confidence that it's going to have a favorable outcome. Cerebro 2 is going to be amazing. I'm definitely going to try this out for sure. Cerebro 2 has all kinds of problems with locations, and that is why Storm is in this list. And this is a tricky deck to play overall, but it has some amazing solutions to this location, being Mr. Fantastic and Storm and Cerebro. And Cerebro and Mystique typically not at 2 power, and by placing Cerebro and Mystique into that location, then they can get the benefit of their boosts. If you don't have M'Baku, you could use Korg instead of M'Baku. If you don't want to use Goose, you could use a card like Invisible Woman. Another deck that I want to give a try is going to be a Patriot build. Most of these cards here don't care if their power is reset to 2, and that is fine. I think this will have its play. I'm definitely going to try this deck out as well. This is one that uses Silver Surfer. And then this is going to be interesting. This is kind of like I don't like this location. I don't want to do this location. It has Storm. So if you just don't want to use the location, then you use Storm. And the main purpose of this deck is to cheat power into that other location. And that's why they also run Ebony Maw. I think you could replace Ebony Maw with Sunspot if you wanted to, but the idea is that you place Ebony Maw and then you cheat power into that location by placing Wong, White Tiger, or using Doom, and then redoing the Doom with Odin, maybe like playing Psylocke on turn 4, placing Doom on turn 5, and then placing Odin on top of Doom, pushing power into that other location, because the cards that fly into this location will not be reset if they're not played there. So that is going to be very good for cards that cheat into the location like White Tiger and Dr. Doom. Next card list that I'm going to give a try is going to be basically a Devil Dino list. There's a lot of cards on this list that are favorable to that location where they just don't care, whether that is Sunspot. Jubilee doesn't care. She's going to be able to yank Infinite out of the deck. Captain Marvel, you can place into another location, and then she could potentially fly into that location. And then Devil Dino is just going to be an amazing card because of the ongoing ability. It's going to not worry about being reset to 2. And then lastly, we've got another deck that also takes advantage of the ongoing ability of not only Devil Dino, but Darkhawk. I think Darkhawk or Devil Dino will be amazing in that location. Darkhawk, actually, his power will go up from 0 to 2, and I think that will be amazing because then his ongoing ability will kick in. Of course, if a certain deck in this particular location, because dominant, they're going to be counter decks. I think a lot of people are talking about Enchantress being a good card to play when this location goes live. Let me know what you think about these decks. I'm excited to try all of them. Be sure to tune into the streams where I try out these decks, and then maybe we'll come to a conclusion which one is actually the best. But guess what time it is now? Now it's time for the giveaway. I really hope you liked today's video, because if you did, you're in luck. For every single person that likes the video, you will be getting for free a brand new Vin Diesel Luke Cage variant. This is not a scam. What an amazing picture that I think the Luke Cage in game, he's holding a car door. Is this a car door? Yeah. How do they do this? It's the same thing. All right. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming. Bye for now. Family.